I no doubt am a key example of someone who satisfies negative emotion with negative solution. It's something I always aim to correct, but when I push on the balloon at one point, another sticks out. One issue I had last fall, which has been specifically on my mind since I'll be re-entering the same situation this fall, is the food that I ate to cope with how I was feeling. I felt hopeless and ugly and frustrated, but bad food made me feel better, but then also ended up making me feel worse, and so I needed more food, and it began this horrible cycle. In the spring season, I generally tend to kick those kind of habits, but when I do, others rear their head. I spend more time seeking leisure and doing nothing. So what happens when I can correct for all my negative, lazy actions? I get frustrated. I find friends and just people in general irritating and get impatient, which bleeds into every other aspect of my life. The fact is that everything has consequences and repercussions, and you have to do your best to correct for the life that you want to see acted out. Out of the food example, another weakness of mine is relationships. I always get more dependent than I would like to, even if I don't show it, because in my eyes, if I decide you are worth my time, you must mean a lot. This is also amplified, of course, in romantic relationships. Some people may notice that I had a lot of my mind romantically for the first portion of this summer, but all the videos of that sort have kind of fizzled out since my last Poon video. I was putting a lot of time and energy into her, and she was fueling this sort of creative part of me. When I don't know what to say, I can put them into a video. When my feelings overflow, I can have an outlet to keep me grounded. But her and I got sick around the same time. Luckily for me, it was something like food poisoning combined with I don't know what else. But for her, it was a more extreme version of a monocontraction. The fear initially was that I had mono as well, but I didn't. And based on some of her activity, I had a pretty reasonable suspicion as to say how she got it. Although I would not say I know for sure, or even blame her for it, since we were planning to cut things off at the end of the summer, it still felt bad. Still though, because I didn't want to get sick, our relationship ended unexpectedly, and so where did these feelings go? I no longer had an outlet. When I couldn't eat badly, I got frustrated. So for this, luckily I don't think any sort of emotion or frustration materialized, but I think that is because I made myself spend the last month hyper alone, and so in that way, a lack of motivation, lack of want, lack of desire to be around anybody ended up being the negative way that I coped with those emotions. Happiness is a fleeting thing and can either be filled for brief moments with the things that make you reminded on how empty you are, or be a long-term thing to strive towards that will always keep your mind off the initial pains. A strange comfort for me, seemingly in the short and long term, is of course anime, because this is a channel where I talk about anime or something. Very surprising, I know. But also, lately, in old video games I feel nostalgia for. Of course, Minecraft has been one, I mentioned that in a recent video, but one that I keep coming back to over and over is Cave Story. It's extremely difficult to master, but the game rewards you for it. As it stands, just under 4% of people who bought the game on Steam were able to get the best ending. And even if they played on easy, this is a fight that they fought and won. The amount of love I feel for these characters I hope to express one day at length, but for now, I just want to drive home that realizing what you care about, working hard at it, and not giving up will lead to an unrivalable satisfaction that really makes our lives worth living. I'm sorry if this video is short and not heavily edited, but I have been very busy packing and preparing for college, and Saturday, I begin my more than 600-mile trek back. I'll work hard to do well in my own life, and I hope all of you will as well.